pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That lever's hanging up on there.
You might want to replace all of these, someone knows.
I think it's a lever, not cylinder.
Oh.
We'll call the October 17, 2019 board meeting to order. Roll call shows the chief and the library director are absent. They have been excused. Number 3, agenda changes. There are none. 4, consent agenda. A is October 3rd, 2019 regular board meeting minutes. B, licenses and permits. Operator's license, 1 Rodney P. Weaver. C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. Are there any questions?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call?
Aye.
Abstaining. I was not here the third.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 5, pre-registered citizens to be heard.
Jan Malvin.
Just wait and see
Okay.
until I hear.
6, committee reports. A, Public Works Committee.
I'm gonna defer to the committee chair.
Thank you, Carl. We had, meeting, I think October 3rd, was it? But anyway, committee met, we talked about some of the, things that Public Works should be working on in the future, identifying, project costs and everything, but, starting with, Carl brought up the fact that Mill Street Bridge is in need of some maintenance. We had looked at that bridge prior, and so we're talking about doing some shotcreting and some other concrete work to extend that life of the bridge until it's time to replace it. Another thing that Carl had identified was with the new bypass, State 15, going around Hortonville. If we want to get some utilities for underneath that highway right away for North Nash or any developments in that area, talking about doing the service conduit in that area prior or during the construction of 15. So getting some costs and preparing for it. It's something that might not have to be done until development is actually identified, but at least we'd be ahead of the program.
I've got some update on that. I after crunching the numbers with Ron Wolf and all that good stuff, it's not economically feasible or beneficial to do anything with that right now. If there's development in Nash Hills, then we'll just have to take it up the hill. The cost to run it underneath the highway with 38 feet of fill, everything would have to be encased. It would cost as much as a lift station to put that line in. So what we're gonna do is nothing.
Okay.
And if there's development, we'll tackle it at that time.
Okay, very good. Talked about some of our capital improvement projects. Sheets were handed out for the project list that Carl's been working on and juggling those around, along with prioritizing them and get them into years that are appropriate with our budget. We talked about purchasing a mastic machine, maybe, but that might fall by the wayside also. Might be easier to rent one first before purchasing one. The administrator gave us some updates on the TID district balances, and we talked about the grant for downtown work that MSA is working on after the bypass is completed for refinishing a trail, or putting in a trail downtown. So those minutes are available, so I'm sure they'll be on the website for the village.
It was recorded.
Any questions? If not, we'll move on to 7, unfinished business from previous meetings, and there's none. 8, new business. A, stop sign discussion, Mill and Bath Street.
The stop sign was installed due to when we were doing the dam repair project, and it works so nice, controlled traffic back in there that, I can't remember who, it might have been you were one person, and several other people asked if we could just leave it up, and so we tried that and left it up, nobody complained, everybody seemed happy, so we left it up there for the next 5 years. And then was asked by several people on the board here to take it down, and I don't want to just keep jumping around. I mean, if a board member wants me to do something, that's fine, but don't ask me to take something down and then put it back up and then take it down. I want you guys to make a decision. If you want it back up, we'll put it back up. If you don't, you don't. But what we're recommending, at least I'm recommending, is don't put it back up, and let us improve and put stop bars on Mill Street. But if you do want it back up, that's your prerogative as a village board, but I want some clarification on that. So.
What do you mean stop bars?
What's a stop bar?
Well, they're just painted white bars. We're more concerned about traffic on Mill, since it's not stopping on Bath, we're concerned about traffic on Mill pulling out and getting hit. There's 2 concerns there. The stop signs are, well, at least the posts are dated. They need to move closer to the intersection. I don't know how long they've been like that, but quite a while. The other concern again is the landscaping on the corner in his property. It's excessively tall. It violates the vision corner ordinance. So if we got multiple issues at that corner. And the nice thing about that landscaping is people have to slow down to look around it, so they're not going to pull out in front of somebody. So I'm not too concerned about it because it's a side street. It wasn't a big issue, so I wasn't going to make a big stink over it with them. Didn't never really bothered me with the 4-way stop sign, but now that the stop signs are 2-way, it is kind of a concern. It's not the end of the world. Again, I'm deferring to the village board what direction we want to go with these stop signs.
Can I give you some history? There used to be a canning factory there. I had little children. I counted the children from Bath Street to the bridge. 25. There were 25 children. There were 75 at least a day trucks going down to the canning factory from Bath Street. They would shoot through, they took the stop signs out so those trucks wouldn't have to constantly be braking, stopping. So they put the stop signs on Mill because they felt that was safer. There were at least 200 people a day that worked at that canning factory. So we're talking major traffic on Bath and Mill Streets, okay? I don't believe that we had any complaints at that time. I don't think we have even near the traffic now that we had back then. I don't know how many children exactly live on Mill Street or Bath, but I don't think it's close to what was there when my children were there and other young families. So I guess I'm asking this board, what is your opinion on this?
I know you had talked about, extra police enforcement there, but the problem is when a cop sits down there, they stick out like a sore thumb. So it doesn't really do any good because people are always going to slow down when they see a cop. So I don't know if we can't set a cop there 24/7.
No.
And
Speaking from Chris, I asked her, because she did come in and ask permission to be excused tonight because she's ill. I asked her if there was anything she wanted to speak to on the agenda, and this was the one that I suggested she make her point known. She also is in favor of leaving it as it is currently, the way it sits, but is also in favor of the stopping bars as well.
So the signs are on, but if you're on Mill, you have to stop, or you're on Bath, you have to stop?
Mill.
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 Okay, I don't go down that direction very much. Okay.
I drive it every day, and I was one of the kids that lived there before, so. But I don't live there anymore, so.
I
But
will,
let's
I
hear
will
from
tell
you.
you, they do, the problem area for that spot is when they fly down Lincoln and then they turn down Bath and go really fast from Lincoln corner where the canning factory is down to Bath. And even worse is when they turn from Bath onto Mill, so then they fly up the hill both ways.
And you know why they're going fast down the hill, right?
Well, yes, it's, you get air and it's fun
Yes.
and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do it with my bike. And Chris did patrol, I mean, I noticed that Chris was patrolling that area after the last board meeting, and she did catch a few of them because I saw her get them. And it was one of the 3 cars I actually mentioned that I see fly down that hill. But I know that they take that route because it's easiest for them to turn on Mill Street in the morning and then make a right from Mill to 15 to go to school, rather than coming up and making a left from Double T or going down Bath and trying to get out by Donaldson's. That's like impossible. So I understand why they do it, but I will tell you, it is primarily the young kids a lot in the morning before school, and 3 to 4 o'clock at night is when I usually see it and hear it. I don't know that I'm in favor of not putting the stop sign back up. I don't know that stopping lines are gonna solve our issue, because the people that are doing it aren't gonna care that they're stopping lines. So I don't know what the solution is. I just know that it didn't work when there was 4 stop signs. It doesn't work when there's 2. I don't know what the solution is, but it's a bad pathway right now.
It's a cut through,
Mm-hmm.
always has been.
Cedar Street is also a cut through in the morning and at night, because they don't wanna go on Main Street and have to deal with that traffic. So they go down Cherry, come down Cedar, and they're zipping because they wanna get out on Nash as quickly as they can to get to school.
Mhm.
So I mean, we have other streets
I
with
get
the
it.
same situation, with speeding, with, you know,
I think we have a speeding problem as a
Well,
whole, right?
we do.
In
One
town.
of the
so-
suggestions that I heard was to get rid of all the stop signs.
Yeah, we should,
I mean, because then you have to slow down, because if you don't slow down, somebody's gonna cream you coming through that intersection.
Like New London. you
Yeah,
know?
oh, that's why I said New
All
London's
the
got a whole bunch
uncontrolled
of
intersections,
uncontrolled
yeah.
intersections.
And
That's
they're
where I learned to
not-
drive, because
and
that's the
they're
only
not
place you can
pretty.
find them.
they're not pretty.
I mean, that's an option, is to, I don't know
How
what is a
much-
good option, but.
Okay, so do you think people are just blowing the stop sign purposely, or do you think people are, okay, I mean, because you live there, are they blowing it purposely, or is it that it's not visible enough for them? Because you talked about maybe
No, they're
location.
blowing, they're cruising
blowing.
down there purposely.
They're blowing.
I mean,
okay.
frankly, they aren't really stopping on Mill Street either. They rolling stop through that
Yeah.
stop sign too. So, you know,
I guess before it was a rolling, even when they
it rolled even when
rolling
it
is
was 4
better.
sign. Right,
Yeah.
rolling, I guess I'd rather have that than not at all. But I don't know what the solution is for that, because 4-way, I mean, people stopped. But there's still, I mean, there's enough speed. I mean, personally, Jan, I've seen you chase after cars even when there was 4 stop signs there, because the cars were just flying down Mill and Bath. I don't know what the solution is, but I just know it's a bad intersection.
I think like Jeannie said, we've got 2 other ones in town. Mill Street, where I live, on the other side of the tracks, they, for whatever reason, instead of going down, they cut through there. Cedar Street, Cherry,
Nash is a speedway, or Nye, I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have different streets in town. This isn't the only situation we have. So I guess this board needs to say, what is your opinion?
Well, and I think we can't just blame the kids, because it starts at 4 a.m.
Mhm.
on Nye Street. I wake up,
Right.
they don't slow down until they get to the curve.
Hmm.
And it's not the kids, it's, you know, people racing to work, and I don't know what the solution is. It
I think
might be
just what we
prevention.
call spot enforcement, you know, not sitting with the same timer every day, but try to do a different part of town.
Mhm.
You know, we've got a full-time police department, they should be able to be out somewhere sometime.
Grand Chute Police Department had a volunteer corps. I was talking to Chris about this. They would train volunteers to actually sit, not with hair dryers, but real speed. There was a picture of somebody doing that, but with real speed things, and then they would record a license number and send people letters. I don't know if that's still in existence or not, but,
Well, I think the signs, those speed limit, the speed monitor signs, I think Chris said, there's tracking capability on them.
The speed
Like
boards,
for
yeah.
those speed boards that says your speed is.
Yeah, because they slow
there's track-
down when they're there, but
Well,
once
there's-
they're off, they,
Yeah,
It logs
but I mean,
data.
take your picture.
No, it don't-
No,
all
I-
they do,
Just
all they
takes
do
the-
is take a count.
It doesn't take
Yeah.
a count?
It takes a count, but it does not take a picture of the license at
Picture,
all.
but didn't she say it sends an alert to the
Alert
officer on duty?
Yeah, so,
It sends an alert to
But it-
whoever on duty.
but right now, I'd like to see that, get those stop signs and stop bars there. You know, right now, I think the stop signs are too far back from the intersection. Get the intersection up to compliance. And then, after that, with spot checking, or I have talked to Chris about parking a squad car there without, officer. They don't have, too many extra, vehicles here, so. But I think I'd like to start there, and we can always progress higher.
And maybe get them to put that speed tracking so they can have some statistics.
Yeah.
of when they need to be there to maximize the enforcement a little.
Well,
I think stop bars would help there.
And the stop bar is out before winter. Because now's the time to do it before it gets too cold,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's another issue too. The congestion and the backup on South Mill. If we were to disallow left-hand turns at the corner of South Mill and 15 during that time period, that backs up a lot of traffic. And allow them only to go straight or get in the right-hand lane to make that right-hand turn. That's been a big issue with Kate, Brett. So if we put a sign out there, not allowing them to make that left-hand turn during that specific time, just in the morning, not in the evening, it should alleviate a lot of that backup on South Mill. Because you can't get in or out of our place.
Yeah, because it backs all the way up to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
backs
that's
all the
why
way
I avoid it in the
to
morning
T.
too. Yeah.
So if we do that and get that traffic flow, you might find a little less traffic down,
Are you talking South Mill or South Nash?
I'm sorry, South Nash. I
Okay,
apologize.
Well, that's a
Okay.
county road, that's a whole, they'd have to go through their committees and everything, you know. Yeah. I don't know, what, I know they're very hesitant at changing stuff. We could ask,
You could ask. I don't know.
it's not a bad idea, but
Yeah.
until we get,
left turn arrow.
Well, not an arrow, would have to be just a sign that maybe,
No turn between the times.
yeah, no
blah, blah,
turn.
blah. They have
It's
been wonky
removable, you
everywhere.
take it out. It's just during that time period, because it backs up all the way to T.
But then that pushes
You
people.
can't get in and
I-
out of our place.
I agree with
That
you.
still
That
pushes people down
to
Mill.
which that's very dangerous to take a left turn there, just because of the way the buildings are there. Yeah,
That
That's
a
corner
bad
is
idea.
terrible.
almost like,
if she presses the crosswalk button, that helps, because it
Yeah.
delays the light.
Yeah,
yeah.
If, I try to tell those crosswalk people that if the traffic starts backing up, press the button even though no kids are walking, because it'll let Nash
Force traffic, yeah.
move.
okay.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit of that. I don't know what we can do with them. It's a county road.
Can they do timing on the lights a little differently? Certain times of day, I know that they do that by Quick Trip. I think that's a different timing, the DOT,
After school.
Yeah,
before
it's county.
that's a county thing, and who do we,
That'd be state.
is that
Well,
you?
the chief will contact the county.
Chief will contact.
That's
okay.
true, that's true, it's state 15.
Yeah, but I mean, I just know that that helped with the, I mean, not that the Quick Trip thing is great, but it did help when they changed some of
Is
the
that county
timing.
or DOT?
It's DOT.
Yeah, because
DOT.
that light on
They
Nash,
control
I
that.
mean,
Oh, I know, trying to get out of my
Yes.
driveway.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah, you can't take a left out of my driveway for about 2-hour windows
I
of the day.
mean, there are times when there's backup all the way to Black Otter,
Yeah,
so I mean, it's not good.
Which
Hopefully
is
the-
why people go down Mill and Bath, because they can make a right
Right.
on 15, so.
I'm not sure how much you know.
I don't
in the
think
future,
changing any of
but-
those signs is gonna change the
Well,
Mill
when
Bath.
the bypass
issue, but-
goes and get some of that traffic off of 15 through town, you know, that's gonna help it, but not in the near future here it isn't. But that's,
So what kind of recommendation are we making? We just try the stop bars for now, keep the stop, but maybe look at
Yeah, stop
putting the stop
bars,
signs where they belong?
this, one stop sign's gonna be moved across the intersection.
you know,
sporadic enforcement, maybe talk to the county about the lights. I think we'll do a holistic approach instead of throwing stop signs back up.
that bypass isn't gonna change anything.
Cause that's all local traffic anyway.
Right, but it all comes from the west. And to get onto the bypass, they would take that out by Sam's place, but that doesn't get them to the high school. It gets them all the way around here. There's no ramp to get to the high school, so they're still gonna come through town.
However, there will be four-way stops downtown and at Nash and Mill, or Nash and Main will be four-way controlled stop signs rather than lights.
So traffic will flow
So
different.
traffic will be flowing, because they won't be waiting. The problem is everybody waits too long on Highway 15, so it backs up on South Nash.
Yes.
So when you got every other car going on that intersection, it'll proceed properly.
So where are these four-way stops?
They're gonna take the light off of Main and Nash. It'll be a four-way stop.
But they were talking about maybe keeping the lights yet at Werner and Main.
Yeah,
Correct.
Because of the school
Because
traffic.
of the school
Yeah.
traffic,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Because you've got higher speed traffic coming down the hill, you don't want them all stopping, that would be a nightmare.
No, and you've got a lot of children, yeah.
So I don't think there's a perfect solution, we'll just try a holistic approach, see what we can do. Talk to the chief and all that.
Everyone in agreement?
You need a motion.
We should need a motion, do we?
Just discussion.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the,
Hmm?
and it's the placement of the stop bars, I'm just thinking, you know, normally in our ordinance that we decide where stop signs are placed, I don't know, stuff. What do you think, Carl? You want a motion or not?
We're just doing it to remind people coming down Mill not to stop,
Yeah.
to stop.
So I guess not. If there's
It's
no-
not gonna
if there's
affect
no
that.
sign as such, then that's
But you
fine.
can
If there
remove
was
the
a
stop
sign,
signs
then
as well as
we need
add the, right, because right now they're not,
Well, the one on the
Visible.
south side over by, oh God, what's his name, south, it's too far back, but it's always been that way. It's,
Oh,
needs to
on
come,
up,
yeah,
across from me.
yeah, kitty corner, yeah.
Yeah, they don't need to be in
Montpelier.
there, but
Montpelier.
they need to be moved into the right position.
Yeah, so we'll move them in the right positions, paint stop bars. It's not gonna really address the concerns that Jan has, but, I don't know, I think we have to look at it.
Speed bump?
Plows don't like that,
What's
yeah,
that?
that might make it worse.
They can get air on Lincoln.
Yeah, really good air on
I don't,
He does have a point, there are people that just fly through there, but they do it on my street, they do it on Cedar, they do it.
when I lived out in Utah, they put, they had some problems with some speeders on some roads, and the residents complained, they had like a temporary, it's like a hard plastic, almost like a tire rubber speed bump that they would put out, and you're not going faster over them, because it just beats the hell out of your car. I mean, that wouldn't be a solution for the traffic on Bath, I don't think, but maybe the traffic on Mill from going up that hill. And I don't know what they cost, I don't know what the investment is in them, or,
To be honest, I don't know about the
Those
traffic on
rumble
Mill,
strips, they're
going up the hill.
first set of threes.
To be honest, Bath is a
No,
worse
I mean,
issue
these
than,
are-
than Mill.
these
I
things
mean,
are like this,
I really
they're
feel
speed bumps,
Bath
I mean,
end
there
to
was no,
end
you
is
weren't
worse
speeding
traffic
through
than Mill.
that neighborhood once they put them up.
They just like to make the S-curve.
Is that what they call them, humps, whatever, so, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like I said, we'll
They were
try
temporary
this
and we'll-
approach, and we could always bring this back, you know, if the spot police checking in our, I don't know, we'll try it, and if 6 months from now, we still got issues, then maybe at that time we put signs back up.
Is the mill still, is that still operational up there? I mean, what's the traffic on Mill
They-
Street
they-
anyway?
MidCon owns it,
Or
and they just
forklifts
store
come
stuff
down
there.
and, yeah.
The candy factory, or are you talking about the feed mill?
Yeah, but no, on Mill Street, not by the I know the candy factory's not running,
So
but
on Dewey Street.
the feed mill?
Where the feed
Yeah.
mill on
Mill's
Dewey
still
Street.
up.
Is that still operational?
Yeah.
There's, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the seed company,
Bird seed.
black cutter seed.
Oh, it's a seed company, it's not like big trucks or anything?
No.
Not really, no.
Big trucks aren't
Not a lot.
supposed to go
Is there any way
past
to-
Jan's house to
But
the.
we
Is there any way to
But we
make that
do
more?
get big trucks because they deliver to Black Otter. So
We
they,
also get one that goes through every other day to the feed mill.
yeah.
So
they-
which way is the traffic going?
The semis
No.
go down over the bridge on Mill Street, cross Bath, and go towards Black Otter.
Yeah.
Well, we need to stop them, because that bridge has a weight limit that we put on it.
But that does happen every other day. But MidCon is really just the stuff, they go down Bath and they pull, forklifts and whatever.
Bath was
concrete.
designed to be a truck route.
Yeah.
Mill, not so much. The Mill Street Bridge, definitely not.
Well-
It's 80 years old now. We don't want trucks on there.
I'm just wondering if there's an option to maybe make that section of road one way. That goes up past Black Otter and Feed Mill, the bird feed.
I don't know if
I don't know if that would make a difference or.
Yeah, Black Otter wouldn't like that.
It'd also lose some, yeah, no, I don't think that would fly. I don't think that whole stretch of neighborhood would care for that.
Okay.
So, Carl, there's no signage.
There
There's
is
no
no
weight
truck
limit,
signs.
is there?
Oh, it's not weight, it just says no trucks.
It does say that.
Yeah,
So it's a matter of enforcement. then.
yeah. All right. Well, I didn't know trucks were going on. I yelled, not yelled at, but I yelled at a few people. But, you know, smaller trucks that deliver like food service, not a big deal. It's these fully loaded semis that used to go over from Midcon, they used to go down Mill Street. I don't know if you remember that, but we don't want the big ones on there, that's for sure.
Right.
So, you think we should just table this for now?
Well, I think we need to do something there, so let's do something there and then come back to it.
Stop bars and moving the stop signs, like,
So
That's
can't do
what I mean,
nothing
table
there.
stop
I think
signs
we should
themselves.
table the additional stop signs, but,
Do the other stuff?
yeah, do the other things to get into compliance.
All right.
Then we'll move on to B, O-18-19, amending chapter 2.112.
These are just some amendments we wanted to make before we sent all of our stuff for codification. And this is that, it used to read, I think you all had this in your packet, it used to read, the elections were held at the Hortonville Community Hall, which was the Opera House. And that's not something the codification people would do. So we just wanted to clarify that and fix that before we sent them that paperwork.
And we need a motion.
I'll make that motion
I'll second.
to,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead, to approve O-18-19, amending chapter 2.11, parentheses 2.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then
Motion carried.
next one, 0-1919 was for tax receipts, and I handed out the clarification that Bob wanted the wording changed a little bit on there. It should say, tax receipts shall be collected pursuant to section 74.19 Wisconsin statutes, as opposed to all the other wording that does not apply, so to speak.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve O-19-19 ordinance amending chapter 3.01 parentheses 2, finance and taxation.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D, O-20-19, repealing chapter 3.03 parentheses 1.
And this was to repeal this. It used to say the budget departmental estimates, talked about a finance committee. It's not really applicable anymore. It doesn't, so we wanted to have that repealed.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve O-20-19 ordinance repealing chapter 3.03 parentheses 1, finance and taxation.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. E, O-21-19, repealing chapter 19.04, parentheses 2, 4, and 5.
I didn't catch who seconded that last. I did. Okay, thank you. And this one talked about rentals to be made through, the person's designated by the village board as the park caretaker. Talks about a key deposit to be made prior to the use. So this one doesn't apply either. It talks about the use of the pavilion must be reserved at least 10 days in advance. That doesn't, we don't require that.
Any questions? We need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve O-21-19 ordinance repealing chapter 19.04, sections 2, 4, and 5 Parks and Recreation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. F is O-22-19, amending chapter 1.02 and 1.16.
And this strictly is just changing the wording at the very bottom. It used to say emergency government director. We're changing it to emergency manager.
Alright, I'll make a motion to approve O-22-19 ordinance amending chapter 1.02 and 1.16 general government.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. G, application for payment number 4 in the amount of $18,519.65 for MCC Grandview Road contract.
I'll take this. This is a final payment to the contractor for the completion of the Grandview Road reconstruction project. Once we get this approved tonight, I think me and Al are gonna work on the grant request submittal, right? We can get that in the next couple of weeks. And I think it's all downhill from here. We're gonna have the final resolution next, but I think all in all, the project went pretty well. There was a few hiccups with storm sewer issues, but it's a project the village has been trying to figure out how to do for the last 40 years, and you guys managed to figure out how to do it, so good job. Or how to pay for it anyways. Is there any questions on the final payment? We'll talk more about numbers next in the assessment resolution. Has anybody not driven down it?
It's nice. I drive down it every day still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, until you get to outside of Hortonville and it turns to garbage.
Garbage cans.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Really? I mean, I remember when it was just the opposite.
Yeah.
No fun leaving the car on it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be driving in the winter. It's getting pretty bad for
Oh,
now.
going out that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the hill especially. Okay.
Alright, so you're looking for a motion for the application for payment, is that correct what we need to do? I'll make a motion for application for payment number 4 in the amount of $18,519.65 to MCC Grandview Road Project, or road contract, sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. H is R-19-20, final resolution authorizing asphalt roadway reconstruction, storm sewer, curb and gutter improvements, and levying special assessments against property adjacent to Grandview Road.
Can I just ask a question about the resolution number? In our packet, it's R-19-19, but on our agenda, it's 19-20. Because
Yeah,
we're
it should
doing
be
it in 20?
19.
The
It's
typo is on the agenda, not on the resolution. So it's correct on the resolution,
Okay,
it's wrong on the agenda.
okay, I just wanna make sure,
Yep.
just
I
so
had
that,
it circled
because that
also.
changes the year.
I had it
Okay.
circled also, Julie, good catch.
Okay. Have you gotten any residents that are inquiring about the, I mean, they were pretty upfront,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty good crowd. Again, I think I don't have it in front of me, but we're looking at $3,900 and something dollars. Again, there was a few last minute land combinations and the issues with the stormwater. and some potential easements that we couldn't get. Changed a little bit of a redesign, so we're probably spent about 50,000 more than we were thinking going into the project. But anyways, we got it done. Assessments are still in the $3,000 range, just at the high end instead of the middle side. I don't know if there's any questions you got for Al or I regarding the total numbers. Basically, I don't think, we did eat up the contingency to cover the stormwater issues, but aside from that, it's a pretty straightforward project.
4 people were able to combine parcels prior to the assessment. We also had 8 people that had special request projects on the project. Those were primarily addressed through the contractor, so we tried to not get involved for financial matters. Ongoing, Carl and I had lists for we met with numerous people on the project. We did what we could to make it what they wanted for their build out. So it was very accommodating. We got all but 2 of our easement agreements. One was very boisterous at one of the earlier meetings. No work was performed on their property. We did everything from the road. The other person, who was also very boisterous, then asked for assistance on ditch repair. So upon seeing the final product, it came into good terms. So primarily it went very smoothly. Little or no interaction on the highway. So a couple of post-project cleanups for wood and some extra repair in the ditch, but other than that, minimal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot. They did a good job with restoration, and once the grass took, it really turned out nice. So
I think once we turned it over to Al at MSA, it went pretty smooth. It didn't require a lot of concern and thought on our part. So
So I remember them asking if this could be spread out over a number of years. Is it on this resolution? Is that when we're deciding when they can spread
you
it
are
out?
deciding that as part of this.
Okay.
How many number of years and the interest rate, if I'm correct, Bob.
that's correct.
Okay. Oh, I see it now. Okay,
Oh.
number 6.
Number 6.
I
So
think,
what is the going interest rate right now?
since we self-funded the project, so we can set the interest rate where we're comfortable with it, because the village used fund balance to pay for the project, so we want this money to come back into the fund balance. It's not going to a bank, so.
Current interest rates, I called today because we're potentially looking at something for the 2020 budget on a 1-year note is 3.25%. Now, we don't have to set it at that. Again, it's a recommendation. You could do 1%, you could do 2%, you could do, the going is 3.25 as we speak. That's on 100,000.
What have we normally done in the past? Do you have any
3
idea?
at least.
3?
Yeah.
3%.
We made adjustments for the other assessments. I guess I would like to go on the low end myself when we were assessing on the other end of town.
Well, one of
Just
the
my
consent-
opinion. I know it was,
Yeah.
I know it was apples and oranges, but I
Yeah.
just
Oh, you're
still
right.
have feelings about, residents and,
You already made one concession, and that was to assess after the grant, which you didn't legally have to do. We deducted the grant and then used that balance to set the assessments, which you legally didn't have to do. So you already made a concession there. It was the right thing to do, but
yeah.
legally you didn't have to, so. So by low end, what are you meaning, 3%?
Well,
Speak up.
I don't know if I'm a good one to say that. I would, if it's.
Just remember, there's gonna be another one in a couple of years, another one after that. We gotta be
I know,
Be
semi-consistent.
careful not to set
but we
precedent.
have set a little bit of a precedent in a way.
Where?
What did we do for the percentage for the,
On the other end of town.
for the
And
Brookwood
I know
one?
we still-
We haven't, that's gonna be in November,
okay.
Yeah, we haven't set that yet.
way up there.
That assessment is also a third of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, the terms would probably be different, but, I mean, the interest rate should most likely be
Carry, yeah.
consistent somewhere in there.
Are you asking me for recommendation, or I don't?
We've done 3 in the past.
I think
I
3
would
is
stay
a
with
good.
3.
I would stay
I
with
think
3.
3 is below what it would cost to borrow the money.
Yeah, right.
And then when we have to borrow money, to cover any shortages in the budget. It's gonna cost us, so it's actually giving, it's giving a little bit, I think.
So if you do one here, and next year we do 3,
Yeah,
we've
that
got some
makes it,
disparity
yeah.
there.
I'd recommend 4 years too. We try to stay at 1,000 or less per year on residential assessments. It's a lot of money for somebody to, you know, if you're, I don't know, obviously it's probably 10,000, but a normal person is like $2,000 or 3,000. Sorry about it. And
Yeah,
you
Bob's
wanna-
3,600?
But $1,000, it seems, I don't think I'd go any higher than that. So given the amount that is close to 3,900 something, and we're putting a little bit of interest on there, I would go 4 years.
And does that come due with the taxes
Yeah.
at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they'll have an opportunity to pay it all off once.
Correct,
Yeah,
With no interest?
correct.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. I think 3 is a good number.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard Carl's recommendation, and I would
4 year.
second it, is 4 years at 3%. That'd be the recommendation that we put out.
I think we're all in concurrence,
Yep.
are we not?
We need a motion?
Yes.
Motion to approve R 1919 on a resolution for authorizing asphalt roadway reconstruction, storm sewers, curb, gutter improvements, and leveling special assessments against the property adjacent to Grandview Road. And for item number 6 then, 4 years at 3%.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Is this roll call or
Do we
not?
need roll?
Why don't you?
Okay, roll.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. I is any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion?
Maybe I'll.
Good night. Anyone have anything? If not, we'll move on to 9, report of village officials, administrator.
In your handout here, I just want to make a note off of the new business agendas, items B through F. As Nathan, myself, and Jane go through the ordinances to get ready for codification, you might see a lot of this. There's going to be a lot of cleanup coming down the pipeline. So there's going to be a lot of that we're going to find that just don't make any sense, that we have to delete or get rid of or clean up before we can hand it off to Unicode. So bear with us. Obviously, we haven't been codified in a couple of decades. So there's a lot of stuff in there that as we read through it, it just doesn't make any sense. So bear with us. How I started, we're very budget crazy, and I'll give, I always give credit where credit is due. Carl, myself, Jane, Nathan, Libby's been very hands-on. Everybody in the office has been handling everything. So we are knee-deep in the budgeting cycle right now, so it's been good. Other than that, Autumn Fest yesterday, Jeannie was there, Jane was there. Pat, kudos to you and your crew for running it. Very nice crowd, very nice, well put on. St. Peter Paul, very accommodating, so everything went well with the Senior Fest. And I can speak for what Jeannie also said. It seemed like the crowd was up this year, so there's a lot of differing faces that we've never seen before that you wouldn't see for potluck here. So hopefully we continue to grow that senior base and work on the programming. Getting into planning and activities for the village. Speaking to the MLS supplement grant, Al and his company are a big part of that. We're very close to the first rendering, and this gets into the details with the $10,000 that we asked the board for to help write and procure for that grant. We're getting close to that first rendering. Carl and I did some initial review today, sent it off, so that is a December 6th deadline for that. So we're hoping to see something in the next couple of weeks here that we can produce and show the village board. We also met with HYS Youth Sports last week, and I'm meeting with JW Industries next week as we continue to plan and develop for upgrades to Otto Miller Park. They're still in the process of working on a capital campaign for the upgrades to the baseball park, so we're putting all the pieces together. And then more recently, we had some issues at the Opera House. So I put my grant hat back on, and I think I found a viable opportunity for the Opera House for HVAC and windows, and I am meeting with Noletta Burr with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation next week. They have an investment grant that I think might be yielding some dollars for the Opera House. Carl's going to speak more to that, but we had some boiler issues again this week upon startup. Something else that I didn't have in the minutes here, or my notes, is that the electricians are about 75% complete. They've been working on it last week and this week. So this room is completely updated. So all the lights in here are updated. So we're hoping that immediately next week we see the bills start coming down. But you can see when we're at half power here, you're only using one of the two bulbs in there. So the efficiency factor is unbelievable. It's a different light. You got to get used to it. So, but like I said, we should see a immediate payback on that. Outside meetings, it sounds so far off, but Outagamie County has started the 2040 comprehensive planning. So I did attend that last week. Not a lot we can do yet, but they're setting the parameters. We were part of the Fox West region, so we met at Greenville on that. And last but not least, on the bottom there, I'm not sure if anybody saw this, but last week Neenah High School had Seussville. So it was a program on Fox 11. So members of the theater, I believe it's Jenna Foff?
Yep,
Okay,
her husband Justin is the director.
okay, so they're trying to do a spin-off, and I actually reached out to Dean Coffert from Neenah. He's agreed to come over, so they're gonna do a spin-off of transferring Seussville from Neenah to Hortonville, and they're gonna have Fox 11 here as well, but we need permission to do it. So I'm just gonna throw it out there if there's anybody who would have any objection to turning Hortonville into Seussville for the publicity of the theater program. If there's any conversation, I guess, that would come up that would be objectifying to it, but I don't know if I'm gonna put the hat on yet. I haven't had that conversation.
I was telling at
I
one
have
of the
one.
drinking establishment, they said they should call it Whoville.
Yeah.
They were Whoville, they want us to be Seussville.
I know that,
Yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna put the hat on yet. I might make Justin do that, but we'll see. Because the mayor painted a pretty good picture. I don't know if I can even step into those shoes, because he did a pretty bust-up job on the news. So, but if there's any objections, I think it'd be a great thing for their theater broadcast. So,
Yeah.
and we're happy to help, obviously.
They've been working on it since August.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay. Good. I think that we should be able to just help them out. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. That's all I have. So,
Any questions? If not, we'll move on to clerk treasurer.
These are two bills, Senate Bill 266, it's been passed by the Senate and Assembly, it's just waiting the governor's signature. It's requiring municipalities to pay for health insurance premiums for police officers, police chief, and EMS practitioners to continue to pay the premiums for the surviving spouse and dependent children of a police officer, police chief, and EMS practitioner who dies in the line of duty. So I think you've probably heard that. They said the state's reimbursement is paid out of the shared revenue program. So, just want you to make you aware of that. And AB 141 is clarifying that property tax payments mailed to the proper official are considered to be received on time if postmarked on or before the due date, regardless of when received. And we pretty much do that anyways. We go by what the postmark date is. The other one, which is interesting, is Senate Bill 203. It hasn't been approved by the Assembly yet, but it's authorizing municipalities to allow clerks or other official staff to issue operators' bartenders' licenses. So I'm assuming we would bring that to the village board, and, yes, that's interesting. So I would just be able to issue an operator's license? So.
Without board approval?
Right, but
Wow.
I'm assuming we would still make it,
yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah,
I think the way I read it is gives you the right, but we don't have to approve that.
Okay.
We can still do it the traditional way
which
for
I,
village.
and the other thing is, let's see here, Outagamie County adopts the 5% county tax. That's going to go into effect January 1st, 2020.
Is it 5% or half?
Half a percent.
Okay, I'm like,
0.5%, sorry.
Fine.
Like 5.5%.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's all I have.
Any questions?
Does the EMS benefits, that doesn't affect us because
Killed in the line of duty.
that's killing the line of duty?
Yeah.
But we don't offer any benefits to them already, so we
Right.
couldn't
Correct. Well,
provide
it'd be-
extended benefits to
Well-
their,
they could, if they're a full-time police officer,
yeah.
yeah, if they're killed in a duty, we would.
Well, yeah, I understand the police because we already provide benefits support, but we don't provide any benefits at all to the EMS, so
Correct.
it doesn't apply in our situation.
be interesting.
Yeah.
It'd also be interesting to find out if there's some sort of insurance policy we could take out. I mean, not that we're a bigger municipality, but I think it's like a larger city. That if that would happen, that there's kind of like a life insurance, but not.
Do we not get reimbursed for that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, through
So
shared
it
revenue.
doesn't come out of
Oh,
our.
it doesn't come out
budget.
of ours.
No.
It's
No.
just, okay, all right, that's what I needed.
Yeah.
So Jim, this summary says police officer, police chief, and EMS practitioner who dies in the line of duty.
Yeah,
If we were providing. that-
Yeah, if
Yeah.
we're right.
that's what I said, because we're not providing benefits to the EMS right now,
Right.
so
But
that,
it could, though.
but the way that it's structured now, it doesn't, that part doesn't
Yeah,
apply
no,
to
it's a
us.
continuation of being
Okay.
premiums, right, so.
Okay.
So a
I just wanted to
part-time,
clarify and make sure that it didn't,
a part-time
Yes.
officer would not be covered.
okay.
Any other questions for Jane? If not, we'll move to C, Director of Public Works.
Just a couple. The local road improvement program, it's a grant process overseen by the county, but it's actually ran by an appointed committee of like-minded individuals, superintendents and director of public works from various municipalities. Me and a guy from Kakana were on the committee this year. We're getting together on the 30th to go over grant applications, and right now there are only 2 of us seeking money. I'm seeking $34,739. That's our allot. That's how much we have built up into the imaginary bank we have coming to us. Now, it doesn't mean we can't get all $104,000 that we allocate every year or every 2 years, but what it is everybody takes their turn at the trough, and we finally have enough in there to do some damage. So I'm gonna try and get all $34,000, and then I'm gonna shift that, use that money over here on Oak Street in front of the high school. As you know, we got rotten water main in there, we've got bad sewers, and if I can do the water and sewer next year, again, reprioritizing the capital improvement plan, which you have to be, it's a dynamic document, you have to be, depending on where the money is, you have to be able to adjust. But I talked to Dan a little bit. What we're gonna do there is fully mill 2/3 of the road, and then we'll do a partial surface mill on 1/3 of it. I estimated about $6,000 in savings doing that, so not a bad idea. Dan's been very helpful with some of that stuff. So I plan on, that's a $198,000 project. Again, it's from Carl Mann's house there on Cedar Street up to the Nash Street intersection here on Oak Street. It'll be full surface paved from curb to curb. New laterals, new water main, new sewer laterals, storm repairs. Anyways, with that grant money, we bring it back down into my normal range for utility projects. So that's why. I was gonna use that money over on Birch Street, but with some Dan's help there, I think we can get that project down to $18,000. So I'm gonna put that in the capital plan in the budget. So, or capital projects in the budget. So we're making things happen, so.
So Carl, with new laterals and stuff, would that mean that there would be some assessment to some of the citizens or the?
We typically don't assess for utility reconstruction projects. I should have said we never have.
Okay. Just so they could plan if they were gonna be assessed in any way.
Yeah, we have a history of not doing it for utilities unless, like in, last time we did something like that was in, Lakeshore Lakeview. And that was total, new curb, everything. New sewers, everything that works. This is basically water and sewer, some spot repair on storm, and, it's mostly water and sewer, and some slight overlay on the village's portion, so.
Okay.
It's close. We can if you want. But it's gonna go
not
back to
them.
the utility.
I just, if somebody would ask, and just at this time, you're not looking at assessing that section
I-
of residents.
It has to be worthwhile, because you're down to 160 and you get 20%, and yeah. I don't know.
Not to lock you into that, I guess that's just the question, I think anyone's.
I could crunch some numbers and see. It's on the cusp, but we normally don't, and if we've not done it to other people in the past, I don't know if we should start it, because what about the people on Pine Street?
Yeah.
You know, do I go back? I can go back, right, Bob?
That's just gonna be the number one question.
But no, for
What's this guy-
normal utility projects and just resurfacing, we don't.
Okay.
But something major like Grandview or new construction like Brookwood, yeah.
Okay.
So. Yeah, one more thing. You touched on the Opera House boiler. We had to buy a new circulation pump, about $800. We got it running today, so hopefully we'll have heat in there by this weekend. Oh, that's all I got. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Dam maintenance. We had our inspection earlier a couple months ago, and one of the required items is placing a large riprap underneath the bridge at what we call the tail race, right off the concrete where it goes into the creek bed that's underneath the bridge. We looked at every way possible that the village staff could do it, we just can't do it, so we're gonna hire MO Excavating to set their big excavator up on the bridge, and they'll scoop it up and then reach over and place it underneath the bridge. So we're gonna have to get a right-of-way permit, a detour permit from the county, contractor's gotta get permits. So we'll be shutting down that road and making it worse for you.
When?
So. But it'd only be for about 4 or 5 hours. It won't take us long to do it.
After the morning rush.
Yeah.
Before the afternoon rush.
Sorry.
Wednesday.
That's all I
It
have.
goes between
Carol,
while they're all
can I
in
ask a
school.
quick question about the fans in the Opera House?
Yeah.
Are you reversing them for winter, or what? We were wondering about that at class the other morning.
I never have before. I'm
Just
not
wondering
impressed.
if that would bring the heat down, if we could reverse them to,
I don't even know if you can. Those things are ancient. So I could look into it. They're way up there.
I know,
Yeah.
I didn't know if there were switches somewhere
No, there's no
down below
switch. There
to-
is a
Okay.
rheostat, but that's other than that, no.
Might be a switch on the fan
On
itself.
the fan.
Yeah,
Where
and
it's-
I,
gotta get up there.
obviously,
Do I need a lift to get up there?
Dave's retired.
well, yeah.
That's a very good question. I've been there 23 years, I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you.
I
Or
just
the
can't-
investment of, maybe look for a donation investment for even ceiling fans with remote, so that they're
Right.
a locked up remote that you could switch, reverse, which direction, but you still have the
As
real
nice as
stand.
that is, those ceiling fans are very old and they're very well made in
Okay.
America. They're just fine. I mean, I
Okay,
know what
they're fine,
you're
but-
getting at, but
Yeah,
Maybe they
I'm
do
hesitant
reverse.
to pull
There might
that
be a
out,
little
put something
flip up there.
Chinese up there.
Probably is.
There might be a little flip switch up there. It might make a difference.
Hey Carl, for Grandview, do we have as-bills for that, or is that all the plans?
We have plans, but yeah, we'll get as-bills, I'm sure.
Okay.
One other interesting thing of note regarding Grandview is there was a railroad track running down Grandview at one time.
Really?
Yeah. We did find the ties somewhere about the middle section, so way back in Alonzo Horton days, that was a railroad track going out there.
For logging, narrow
Yeah,
gauge?
probably logging, narrow gauge, yeah.
Did you save any of it?
Yeah,
No, it was pretty
Fell
rough.
apart.
Yeah.
I did not.
But you could
I
tell, you could
asked,
tell what
she
it
didn't
was.
say.
It was rotten, but you could tell what it was.
not even pictures.
Or was it a corduroy road?
No, it was definitely road.
Oh, okay.
Because 15 was.
What?
15 had
Corduroy?
planks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
By the time I got out there, they had most of it covered back up, except for a couple ties, so. They were hustling. We were paying them by that hour. We get them out of there.
Where are they?
Oh, the ties? No,
They split it up.
they
Oh,
just,
did, okay,
Basically
yeah.
trying to mulch.
yeah.
okay.
I mean, MCC, I didn't want to slow them down so
No.
I could take pictures. That's all I have.
Any other questions for Paul? If not, D is police chief.
I have a note from Chris.
Okay.
Continue to sign up for ICS 402 emergency training if you are on, have not done so yet and are interested, okay? pick the night and pick the time, so I think most of you are,
I haven't yet.
okay. That's all she has.
E is library director, and she is excused.
We have a finance committee meeting Monday. I shouldn't say we, but the finance committee of the board is meeting of the library board, and then the board is November 2nd, whatever the first Tuesday is.
F is attorney.
Nothing.
The building permit report is in the packet. There is no municipal court report tonight. Number 10 is communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News.
Nothing.
Okay. B is Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News.
Nothing.
C is Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News, and there is none in the packet. D, Hortonville Civic Association.
We're still tossing back and forth as to the rental agreement, and I talked to Carl about this. It's still ambiguous, the one that we laid out, because I don't know how to fill it out on behalf of a nonprofit. It only shows a nonprofit amount of $20.
Yeah, I talked to Dave a little bit about who, how do we define a nonprofit and how much, I still think there should be a caveat in this rental agreement that lets the administrator take that call.
Yeah, but $20.
I know the price for a nonprofit,
Won't
we're
cover
paying
your-
more than that for electricity and.
Yeah, I know, it
we
won't
gotta
cover
have,
your electricity. I
20
mean,
bucks
if we're in there
is-
doing a fundraiser, we're gonna raise enough funds to pay a $50 rental fee. I mean, I think $20, quite honestly, is just too cheap. We're not there to give it away. We should cover our costs.
I agree.
Then, if it's not 20, it's 50 for a half, or for a full day. What should it be for the whole weekend? Should it be 100?
It should almost be half of what we charge a resident.
That's, and I'll just say, I charged this past weekend, they had their emergency use of the Opera House. I put a $100 fee on it for use of the building and for toiletries and electrical because they had a band playing,
For the weekend?
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta cover your costs.
and they didn't bat an eye on it. So, plus we did charge them $300 up front for the deposit, and they got all $300 back because it was spotless when we walked in there on Monday morning.
So we should go back to public facilities and bring this up for approval?
Correct.
All right, we'll do it. Don't pick a day next week, I'm calling a week.
Yep. We
So,
also have a sexting ordinance we have to do for public, not facilities, but for
Safety.
public safety.
when? Next week?
We'll figure it out.
Okay, I'm not here.
Yep, no problem.
So maybe the week after,
Yep. It's on the docket, we'll figure it out.
if we can do both at once.
Yep.
Okay.
Did we ever come up with a date for the budget meeting? A definite date?
You should have gotten a timeline.
I got the timeline, but we were kind of questioning on a date yet. It was a reply, and I know I replied, just a reply, and I replied all.
We have solicited for November 5th for the committee of the whole at 5:30.
Okay,
And Jane, I didn't answer that because I just got the email today when I got back.
Okay.
So I'm okay with November 5th.
sorry.
So November 5th would be the committee of the whole. November 7th would be a regular board meeting, would have no budgetary discussion on it. December 5th would be the day that we look to approve the budget, correct? Okay.
I don't have an email for today at all. The last email I got was an invoice listing yesterday,
Okay.
so
It
somehow.
was last week it went out with the
Yeah.
timeline.
Oh, so I thought you said
Yeah.
email
No,
me today.
no.
No, I didn't
Okay.
know.
The only email I got was from Jane reminding me to reach out to her.
Correct.
Sorry, I just wasn't clear whether that was a definite date or not, because it kind of sounded like we were still trying
I
to figure
think
it out.
you were waiting on me.
And then December 19th would be the wage and benefit report as well as the utility budget. So that would cover all our bases. Jane would need to publish by November 11th in order to make sure everything's legal. So we do have the option, if all doesn't go well November 5th, between November 5th and December 5th, Jane and I checked on it. So when we publish today, or when we publish on November 11th, there is always a caveat that it can be changed per village board. So we have an out in case because what you have to do is publish a summary of the budget as approved on November 5th. It gets published for December 5th, but we might have to change, and we have a caveat, once we print, that we have the right to change it if we need to, so.
Okay, under the Hortonville Civic Association, I have nothing more.
E is the Senior Activities Committee.
Well, as David mentioned, we had our Senior Autumn Fest yesterday. We had 20 booths, so that brought in a total of $560, which pretty much covered, it did cover all the expenses for food, the banner and everything, and I think we had a surplus of about 200, so it was a pretty economical event. I think, I haven't gone through all the evaluations, but I saw almost all 5s and 4s, so we're happy with that. Quick Trip, we did get a $50 card from Quick Trip, so that covered some of our expenses too. Everybody felt good about it. We had good visibility. I had a conversation with a couple of the agencies afterwards, and they would like to come and do an additional program because they had a lot of questions about transitions from home, you know, what is home, what is in-home care, what is assisted living, you know, the whole thing, and a lot of people are afraid of all those things. So we had a brief conversation about that. Just wanted to thank David and Carl and Chris. Carl came over to help set up because we had these big heavy tables and we weren't sure we could do it all, but so he helped us map it out. David and Chris came over and poured coffee and served food and jumped in where needed. Jane ran some cups over. Jeannie was there, so it was, and we have a great committee. So, and then on this end at the village, Nathan and Lisa and Libby kept up the spreadsheets and everything. So it was all good. So thank you.
We'll move on to number 11, comments and suggestions from citizens present.
Thank you all for the discussion. At least it wasn't just blown under the water, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Hope we don't have to talk about it again.
Yeah.
But if we do, you know we will.
You know, more taller plantings in the corner might help too.
I'm trying. I think Shauna should do one on her side.
Yeah.
I took one down on my side. That tree was ginormous that was on that corner.
I'll talk to the Monters too.
And number 12 is adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 7:30.